Hi there, and welcome to the Curious Collective podcast, conversations designed for the veteran and first responder community to bring awareness to those holistic practices that help us live our best life. So tap into the wisdom and knowledge of our guests to heal, transform, and live as your true soulful self. Hi there, listeners, and welcome. This week we have someone I have wanted on this podcast for a very long time. So welcome to the beautiful Sarah Watson. Hi, Sarah, how are you?
Hi, Kate. I'm really well. Thank you so much for that lovely few words. I'm very honored to be here.
It's so good to have you here. So please share with the listeners what it is you're doing in the world right now.
Okay, so I've been out of the Australian Army for coming up 9 years now, and since that time, I've been on a very uh, funny path, I guess. Not funny, haha. Funny, unique, I guess, in a way of searching and finding myself post-military, and then discovering some new passions, which has led to a sense of new purpose as well post-service. So, yeah, I guess I had a couple of years there post-army of really kind of a lot of healing time through different therapies and I guess supports from medical professionals, including 6 weeks PTSD course at Toowong Private Hospital, just on discharge, which was really helpful to kind of understand what I was going through. I knew the sort of theoretical what it was about, but when you dive deeper into how components of healing and processing parts of the experiences you've had, it's a whole nother level of becoming aware, I guess, and in
Deeper
tune.
understanding.
So getting to know myself a bit better post all that, and then using that to, I guess, find now what drives me post military. And I guess that's led to a few different things that I've got involved in. And firstly, it was sport. So through Invictus Games, I was selected to do the 2017 Invictus Games in Toronto. And I obviously put a lot of effort and time into getting my fitness as great as it could be for that. And then that led on to me falling in love with the sport of triathlon, because I actually was selected for running, cycling and swimming. And then that put together equaled triathlon.
Yeah.
And then that sort of then became a bit of a passion, pursuing that world and then finding some success in that world through my first sort of foray into Ironman, which is a lot like triathlon on drugs.
Yeah, it is. It's massive.
So 3.8K open water swim, 180K cycle, followed by a marathon. So
Wow.
it's a bit of a extreme sport for some, but that's kind of where I found some peace by being able to do the training and then execute it with racing. And then from there, obviously, I actually did well enough to qualify for World Championships, which I did in Hawaii, Kona. And then from that, I've just sort of stayed in the sport, got my coaching qualifications as well, and then started a new triathlon club in my hometown of Yass, because we didn't have one. It's just a community-based sporting organisation, not for profit. Anyone can join, and I've found great joy doing sort of free coaching and encouraging people into the sport. And we now have 70 members in
Wow,
a
that's
little tiny
amazing.
town, of
Yeah.
Yass. And in fact, we're going to race at the New South Wales Interclub Championships. And last year we did so well in our first year that we actually won our Hume League. So we'll get a big trophy awarded this weekend, which is pretty exciting for teeny tiny country town in
Celebrating
itself.
each other's success as well. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that kind of unexpected journey into the world of triathlon has been pretty amazing. It's connected me in, like you said, with a lot of locals in my community and given me that sense of giving back of sport that I love so much. And yeah, like I said, we've not only sort of done things in a sort of achievement orientated way, but we also have run for the last 2 years 2 free activities for women in the Yass Valley. It's called Finish Lines, Not Finish Times. So it was all about getting women in particular, because we got a grant from New South Wales government. It had to be a female-only event. And so we ran a come and try triathlon in Yass, swam in the swimming pool, did a ride around, the cute little township, and then a run around the ovals. And this year we had 71 women
Jeez,
from
that's
teenagers.
fantastic. That just gave me full goosebumps down my back.
And so we've had, women who'd never done a triathlon to doing their first triathlon, and then not only that, being watched by their loved ones, their family, their grandchildren, children, wives, husbands, doing their first ever triathlon. And so, yeah, that sense of achievement from those beginners was pretty empowering.
Absolutely. Gosh, even I am sitting here going, wow, like
Sign you up.
that is really amazing. Like I would absolutely love to go and support people doing something like that, especially like 70 plus people.
Yeah.
Women.
So women. And from that, we've found that there's such a keen interest and sort of inquisitive sort of nature of the township. We're going to run our first ever all gender event at the end of sort of later this year. So we're just trying to get sponsorship for that. So because we're obviously a bunch of volunteers and it costs money to run these events. So yeah, pending getting that off the ground, we'll be able to run a free event for everybody in the village.
I love that too, because it gives some people something to work towards as well when they say like, oh, this is something I really want to do. And then they've got these milestones to hit along the way. So yeah. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, it's been super rewarding. And also, I think from that work, I was asked by Triathlon New South Wales, the sporting governing body. They asked me to be an ambassador for New South Wales Triathlon. So I've been doing that the past 12 months as well, which has been great.
So many different hats that you're wearing.
Yeah. What else? I guess from time of discharge, I've had a few jobs. Some have not worked out. It's been a process of experimentation, really, trying to figure out my strengths. I tried a bit of project management. I did do an amazing. I did get on a team with a local project consulting group in Yass who had a project for Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in basically writing a program or designing a program for empowerment of women in the Pacific. So the whole focus was, sort of creating a terms of reference for a governing body that was made up of Pacific women to lead a project, DFAT supported program to empower women throughout all the Pacific countries. So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That project obviously finished after a bit of a year or so. So I had to look for some other things, and I've worked as a peer support worker for lived experience veterans, which was great. Gave me a whole new awareness and understanding of our community, a veteran community, and what the needs are out there. And
that on the ground sort of knowledge of it rather than what you see on social media.
Yeah, exactly. I just tried to apply the good and the bad from my own transition out of army to help others navigate that process, and then also kind of show them that I'm still figuring my life out a bit, but there is hope post-army or post.
That authenticity shining through. Yeah.
So yeah, that's been, I tried that as well, and then I sort of landed at the sort of passion project it started out as was a good to go mindset, it's called. And so it's my own small business run by me only, where I basically take on individuals looking to take on a goal, mostly physical fitness orientated. I have helped others in terms of purely mindset, getting through a tough time like cancer treatment, things like that. But my strength, I think, does lie in that aiming and
Mm.
heading towards a goal, a physical goal, with the mental part being quite a strong focus as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's been amazing. I've had about 25 clients I've helped to achieve their goals, be it a 5K run through to ultra distance running events and Ironmans and all sorts of things in between. So yeah, it's been an incredible privilege, I think, working with people to reach their goals.
Yeah, and celebrating that success at the end of them actually achieving it. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And nothing's sort of perfect sort of line that way. It's like this with injury management and getting in your own head because,
Yeah.
when you're overthinking things, I think, as we all know, it can get
Self-sabotage.
yeah, exactly, 100%. So yeah, that's been a great experience. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And alongside that, I also teach frontline yoga, which is the trauma-informed yoga for first responders and veterans. And yeah, I do that regularly for different groups around where I live at the moment.
So that is actually what sparked my curiosity initially, was that watching you do all these amazing things in the sporting arena and then finding this yoga piece. So what actually brought you to go and pursue this frontline yoga training?
Well, actually, it goes back to before I was discharged from Army, and I was trying many different methods of bringing my symptoms under control. And I tried yoga and actually found it made me feel worse initially because I was in such a state all the time of fight or flight, and I couldn't just get on a mat and just be. I couldn't just be. And that was super confronting. So that's why I kind of had a go at yoga. I went, oh, too much, too hard, can't do it, not for me.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe on my course at Toowong Private Hospital, we did some breathing activities and mindfulness and meditation, which then got me in a place where I could actually start to self-regulate a bit better and actually find the benefit in slowing that down and sort of calming the mind. And then I thought, well, okay, I'm getting this. Maybe I'll try another, give yoga another go. So it would have been around the same time. I went and did a few different classes at different yoga centres around Brisbane and found one that sort of resonated and then kept going and then found I really enjoyed it. And then I started to think about doing my teacher trainer. So I did my just yoga teacher trainer 2-week face-to-face component and then did the hours for becoming qualified. And then from there, I engaged with Frontline Yoga, who was running trauma-informed workshops. So I could then use that to go teach frontline or, trauma-informed yoga. Started at Mates for Mates back in 2015 or 2016. I started teaching there in Brisbane for a couple of years or so. And, I was teaching all sorts of veterans from my age or younger through to Vietnam veterans, and one in particular that I'll never forget. He had a leg missing, and he would come on his mat. He would do it all. He would just blew my mind every time. It was like an honor that he was there
Yeah.
doing this class with us, that he was showing us, despite his his injuries, he could get there on the mat and find such benefit from it. So yeah, that's
And
sort of
did
just
you find interacting with your clients that you're teaching this yoga with and educating them around is like, have you seen yourself in some of them where they are unable to relax and regulate the nervous system at the start and they've sort of moved through that?
Yeah, like I think it's clear now. I've sort of been through that myself. I can see who's open to it and who's kind of not ready to kind of sit in that discomfort, that this, that embracing the present and
Yeah.
just allowing yourself to just be. It's super, super challenging if you're in that
It
state.
is. Like, I think I've spoken into this on a previous podcast, is that shavasana at the end of a yoga. used to just dread it. I'd be like, all right, I've done the stretching part. I'm going to just bug out now. But now I want the yoga part to be over so I can just do the shavasana because it's my favorite part.
Yeah, I think that's a sign to sort of indicate to yourself, actually, this is landing in my body. This is I'm allowing this peace and this serenity to come now. So yeah, I reckon that's a great sort of way to summarize where people might feel when it feels good. They're looking forward to the last bit.
Absolutely. So for you personally, what have you found that yoga has brought into your life, especially now teaching it to others?
I think it, like I said, it sort of given me permission to slow down, because I guess as well, with all my training, which I still am doing because I still have goals that I'm chasing, it gives me permission to be on the mat, to slow right down, allow that, softness and ease and rest and digest to come into my body, which, when you go and got to hit those targets for the training program, it's difficult to do if you don't just do it. Simple as that. And I guess as well, when I'm teaching it, I get in that, like, you kind of get into that headspace, and you are that, like, you breathe that, you show the example, and then it's genuine and it just feels good. Like, I feel like I love being a participant in a class, but I also get equally as much out of teaching because I'm soft on myself as well. I'm giving myself permission to be at ease.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm hearing like in flow as well. It's like that pranayama piece, the breath is such an integral part of any yoga practice. It's like connecting to that when you're holding space for others is rewarding in itself.
Yeah. And I think just sort of, you need that kind of person to guide you and show you how much it does benefit. And I think if you can, walk the walk, I think people like take that in a lot more as well and feel it. Yeah.
And do you feel like you've explored any of the sort of yogic principles that are behind the yoga yet, or been intrigued by any of those writings or the ancient mythology behind it?
I guess part of me that I still need to work on is that attention and the focus. So I'm more about just, getting the practice in rather than looking deeper into the theory. But I totally, when I hear it, like especially when you're doing the teacher trainer or the workshops, it is amazing to learn about the principles behind why it feels the way it does and what the benefits are. But yeah, I think I have a fair way to go in that journey of, learning and discovery. But
Yeah, absolutely. That, and even I find that the Sanskrit words have sort of a frequency to them. So sometimes when you're just using them in a class or even as a participant and the instructor is using them, I'm like, oh, like they
yeah.
sort of work their magic on you as well as the movement that you're doing in your body.
Yeah, and it is a beautiful language, Sanskrit, and the words I mean, I guess my focus of teaching has been that trauma informed, so we don't use the Sanskrit at all. But yeah, I guess that's something, if I head back into more, traditional yoga, that would be something I'd need to sort of work on.
Is the trauma informed like more that yin yoga where you're doing the resting in the poses?
Yeah, so that's the premise behind it. It's very accessible. There's always choice. There's no right or wrong with trauma informed. It's always an invitation. There's no get into this position or else kind of thing. There's always options, and it's very, it's just empowering the individual to make choices for themselves. And that's, I guess, that's the bottom line. And obviously, we don't use music or any scents. And we sort of arrange the class so that no one's behind each other, so everyone sort of feels comfortable in especially, you know, if it is a group that has experienced trauma, that we really make sure those principles are being adhered to.
That it's a safe space. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if anyone was interested in learning, say, more about getting into competitive sports or training more in that physical aspect, or even then visiting yoga or this trauma-informed practices that you are, and they're just sort of peeping in the door, getting curious, what advice would you have for them to just, get after it?
Well, I guess physical side, goals and things. What I would say is that anything is possible. I think that's my sort of motto now, is that I could never have imagined doing an Ironman. Like, that was batshit crazy idea. Excuse my French. But then all of a sudden I found myself, actually, I am capable of doing this. Like, if you really want to do something, anything is possible. So that said, it takes the work and the commitment and
Showing up.
yeah, basically, not just expecting a result with no work. But yeah, I think especially, being a mum in her mid to late 40s and discovering a sport that's traditionally maybe, that younger people would have looked at or be into. Again, like, it's actually a sport where I see a lot of people our age or older doing it, because maybe they've got a bit more time, the kids are a bit older, and they're investing in themselves. And it's just so inspiring seeing some sort of 50, 60, 70-year-olds doing this stuff. It's
Absolutely. Wow.
so brilliant. And yeah, you kind of just put everything in perspective. In terms of the yoga, like I said before, if it is something that you think, you'd struggle with sitting still, well, sure, it's going to be a struggle. But that too, the benefit that you'll get from it, once you sort of surrender to it, you will never look back.
I love that you said the word surrender there, because that is a huge piece of it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think I was just like, Instagram's telling me yoga's all the rage. Like, I'm going to go give it a go. And then, like, sitting there raging, going, I can't sit still for so long. It's too much. And then, yeah, time after time, just allowing a little further exploration with it and easing into it and surrendering. I think then I don't think if you're finding it stressful to go to yoga, you're not ready for it. So it's probably, a good indicator that maybe you need to do some work on just mindfulness and breathing to move there, to be ready to.
What a great reflective piece as well for you it is to go, this is where I started and I was agitated and thinking all these things and couldn't get out of my head, and then to now being able to just really like, oh, I want to do this. My body actually craves this.
Yeah, fundamentally, yeah, definitely a huge shift, and it took some time, but now I'm so grateful that I found it and found something that helps me bring the stress down.
Especially like even as an athlete, highly competitive athlete, is there's a lot of masculine driven energy in that, because it's yang, it's go, 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 do, achieve goals, this always reaching forwards. It's like, yeah, fantastic, but I also need balance, the balance of that yin as well. So what a beautiful combination you've chosen for yourself.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, it makes me happy.
Yes. Thank you so very much for coming on and sharing just a snippet of, I'm sure, all of the myriad of hats that you wear and things that you do in your amazing life. Please keep shining brightly, but also shining that light inwards as well.
Thanks, Kate. Beautiful advice. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Katie out.